Hey crew, struggling with push-ups? Here's some of my tips to help you get better at that fundamental movement. First things first is we need to understand the fundamentals of the movement itself. Ideally, what you're looking at, okay, is when we're starting, your wrist and shoulders need to be in line, okay? So your shoulders want to be stacked over your wrist. Ideally, if you're in the push-up position, either on your knees or full push-up, what you don't want to be doing is being in this sort of position here. So shoulders stacked over wrist. When we come down, what we're trying to think about is keeping this body nice and straight, and the elbows want to then come down 45 degrees, like so. Negatives are a great way to start off. So, push-up wise, as I said, starting position could be here. Ideally, you want to try and stay on your toes. You want to put as much load through this as you possibly can without adding any load. So, if you need to, go onto your knees, or you need to go then full. And all you're going to do is try and slowly bring, what you want to try and think about is pulling your shoulder blades and squeezing your shoulder blades down. So, creating that nice tension in the movement. Slow as you possibly can. Hitting the bottom position here. Relaxing. Bringing yourself up and then resetting. Great, again, for body awareness and positional awareness of the wrist and the shoulders, okay? So making sure that you're moving in that position. Secondly, what you want to try and think about when doing push-ups is when you're starting on your knees, what you ideally want to do is get the full range of motion. You want to train that movement as best you possibly can and then progress into the full push-up itself. So knees want to be in this position. Same again, nice straight body, elbows 45 degrees, and then from here, keep your tummy nice and tight, come down, and then back up again. Ideally, what you want to try and do is make sure the chest and thighs are touching the floor, but we're staying nice and engaged. We don't want to relax like so. Nice and engaged, and then from there, come back up, right? So either knees or full, all the way down, back up, okay? You need to remain nice and tight in this movement. You don't want any snaking. So it's important to squeeze your glutes and squeeze your core. The glutes are attached to your lower back, so your lower back stays nice and tight and nice and rigid. Other things we can do, okay, is accessory work, is load the movement itself. So, nice upright plank position, and then that whole position there, okay? You're stacking weight in that active position. If you're inactive, you're in this position, you want to be nice and active. So your shoulder blades are nice and tight, your elbows are nice and locked, they're not rigid, they're rigid as possible, sorry. And then, again, same for your wrist, okay? Finally, you want to stress the movement as best as possible. Ideally, what you're looking at is trying to make sure and maintain the movement pattern over time, but you want to increase the volume. For example, maybe you're doing some sets and reps, okay? Look at 3 sets of a comfortable set that you're allowed to give the ability for yourself to do. Or we can then introduce the EMOMs, where you're putting the movement under a little bit of pressure. Ideally, what you want to do with this is make sure your capacity and knowing your limit. What you don't want to do is the movement break down too much and you get into a point where you're at exhaustion and you actually can't then perform the reps correctly. All I would suggest then, as I say, keep these foundations right. So again, as I said, shoulders stacked over your wrists, elbows 45 degrees, keep it in a nice taut position, okay? Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a go and see you at the open.